Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next The Rise of Kyoshi chapter analysis video. This one's going to be for chapter 15 of the book, which is called Escape. So, we get a bit of an action set piece here at the start, and then some more reveals about Kyoshi's parents, along with, I suppose, learning a little bit more about some of our members of our kind of Dao Fei group here. So it's a pretty interesting chapter, definitely. But yeah, we start off with the action scene, escaping from the police here. So they immediately decide, okay, let's all just escape and figure everything out after that. So they're all heading for Peng Peng to escape. And they obviously first have their fight kind of in the tea house here. And we get Wang, I think, throws Lao Ge at them, and then they just all rush to escape. And what we get basically here is the explanation of their techniques here. So, first of all, we find out with Lao Ge that he is an earthbender, and he specifically uses earthbending in a very, very interesting way. He acts like basically a kind of drunk guy when he's fighting people. He's dodging them, he's like appearing behind their backs and stuff like that. But he's also just kind of like tilting wildly all over the place at these really extreme angles. Like there's no way someone could actually just like bend down that low. And it's revealed that actually what he's doing is he's leaning over really, really far, like to the left or right, but supporting himself in that position with earthbending. So he's constantly sort of maneuvering his body position with these kind of really subtle pillars of earth. So it's, again, more delicate earthbending style for him. That just fits the personality of the character, I think, so well that that's what he's doing. And he's just confusing everyone with this. But they basically all leave Lao Ge behind to sort of sort out most of the guards themselves. Everyone else then runs to get to where Peng Peng is, and it's revealed that everyone else sort of has the sort of signature technique of the group. And what it is for the earthbenders is basically creating these really, really simple, delicate pillars of earth and just stepping on them. And the second they step off them, the pillars just basically turn into dust and go back down. It's a very, very specific use of earthbending here to create this sort of agility type move to increase their movement, where I think they call it like dust stepping later on. And then also Kirima does a waterbending version of this technique as well, where she just kind of holds a piece of, water basically in position for a little bit, just enough for her to sort of step on and basically get the same effect. So it's basically either a small piece of water or the tiniest pillar of earth, and Kyoshi's amazed, and this is kind of what confirms to her in a way, like, okay, these people could actually teach her. They have the delicate moves that she needs. She's just seen Lao Ge do this, and then she sees, of course, Lek do this move, but also the fact that Wang does it as well. It's very impressive considering his size that he's able to be so light on his feet, even on these kind of tiny pillars of dust, effectively. So very, very interesting stuff. We also find Rangi notices that that's a pretty cool way to use bending, and right at the end of the escape sequence, she actually begins to start using this, but with fire bending, to sort of increase her jumping distance to get away. So she learns this kind of fire stepping technique here, with the explanation being that it's more of just really quick temporary like boosts to her jump, of just like creating a quick jet of fire under her feet to give her some extra height. But obviously this leaves Kyoshi completely left out of all of this. She has to get through a whole town basically and then up to where Peng Peng is. Everyone else is basically hopping on the rooftops with ease because they're so agile. Kyoshi tries to do this and fails because she can't do anything delicately, so she just goes full battering ram mode and just basically runs straight beeline for where everyone else is heading, and that involves basically just bursting through walls and houses and stuff like that. She causes a lot of damage on her way back to Peng Peng, and they actually do eventually get there. Kyoshi's completely out of breath in all of this. And when they eventually find their way back to Peng Peng, I think the only real, I suppose, dialogue to note in the middle of all of this is just Kyoshi temporarily catches up with Kirima and says, "Oh, where's Rangi?" And Kirima's just like, "Still in the lead. That's quite a companion you've got there." And Kyoshi's reaction to seeing Rangi sort of hopping along rooftops and stuff like that is pretty incredible here. So it says here, the sight made Kyoshi's breath come to a standstill at the very time she needed it flowing. Rangi was so beautiful, illuminated by moon and fire, that it hurt. She was strength and skill and determination wrapped around an unshakable heart. Kyoshi had always admired Rangi, but right now it felt as if she were gazing at her friend through a pane of glass freshly cleaned. Some mighty and loving spirit had reached down from the heavens and outlined the firebender in new strokes of color and vibrance. There was a struggle in Kyoshi's chest that had nothing to do with how hard she was running. Notes of longing and fear played in one chord. She tamped the feeling down, not wanting to confront what it meant right now. In any case, it was a poor time to be distracted. So, if you have any questions about, feelings developing between Kyoshi and Rangi, there's even further confirmation of it, and we'll get even more in a couple of chapters' time. So anyway, they get back to Peng Peng, and we see that Lek is actually the one who's most excited to see a sky bison again. And as they get on, this is where the group reveals here. Like, Wong actually says it here. He's just excited because we used to have one of our own. Cute little fella named Long Yan. Only air nomads can tame bison. The animals won't listen to strangers if they're stolen. We didn't steal Long Yan. He was Jace's bison. And this is where Rangi has an actual moment of like, wait, Kyoshi, you've kept something from me here. How did your mother have a sky bison in all of this here? So this is actually something Kyoshi didn't tell her yet. Lao Ge obviously turns up right at the end here, just as they're about to take off. And Kyoshi's like, does that mean what I think it means about your mother? And Kyoshi has to reveal here, yes, my mother was an airbender. I'm half air nomad. So that's really, really amazing reveal here, as like this Rangi just gets hit with this further massive reveal about Kyoshi. First she's have to find out she's the Avatar, then find out the details of her like Dao Fei parent. Now Kyoshi's half airbender, half air nomad. It's really great how these reveals are coming out here. But this is where we get the name of the group here. I think it's Lek who says, the Flying Opera Company is back in business. So that is the name of this group. That's the name of Kyoshi's mother and father's organization here that's now back up and running again. The Flying Opera Company. So very, very interesting stuff there for sure. End of the chapter is Kyoshi going up to Lao Ge to talk to him, and it's a very important conversation that they have here. So he first notes that when Kyoshi approaches, you're very loud. I mean, your spirit is loud. It rings in the air. Sometimes it screams. Like right now, your body may be all the way over there, but your spirit is grabbing me by the shoulders and howling in my face. If you went to the spirit world in your current condition, you'd cause a typhoon the size of Ba Sing Se. So, getting across the idea that Lao Ge or Lao Ge is like spiritual in some way, and that he sort of was telling her like, I can sense, the strength of your spirit here, and in your current mood, like you would cause issues, like Korra of course did when she went to the spirit world. So, that's pretty interesting. But Kyoshi says, I know who you are. It took me a while to figure it out, but after seeing you fight so many men at once, it was clear. You're Tiegwai the Immortal. And he's like, oh, I suppose there was a description of me in Jace's journal. Long white hair, great dancer, devastatingly handsome. And she just says, it didn't have much detail. It said you were an underworld legend rumored to be 200 years old. But that's obviously a tall tale. Of course, I'm a man, not a spirit after all. I know it's you because of a different description. Tiegwai fights with a crutch. I was looking for someone with a wooden crutch or a bad leg. Then I saw you leaning on your earthbending when you fought the lawmen in the square. So that's what confirms it to her. And he asked her, why would someone such as yourself seek out immortal Tiegwai? After all, your mother never did. She only called me Lao Ge. Lao Ge, whatever. And it's revealed here by Kyoshi because she was afraid of you. She didn't know when you first joined the group, but her suspicions grew over time that you were Tiegwai the assassin, Tiegwai who killed the 40th Earth King. She figured out that you were using her smuggling gang as cover to travel from place to place as you eliminated targets for your own purpose. So this is a really, really interesting one here. This pattern that she notices that he was with the group, but every time he snuck off on his own for a while and he came back, they'd hear about someone in a notable position having been killed. So he is in legend as someone who's killed a previous Earth King before, so that's pretty crazy. So he asked her, are you here to bring me to justice? And he's like, no. Kyoshi says, no, I want you to teach me how to kill someone. He, of course, gives her the jokey response of, hit them in the head really hard with a rock. No, bending and killing are not the same thing. And it says here in the narration, the image raced through her mind. The way Jianzhu had so casually done the unspeakable, first to Yun and then to Kelsang, as easy as breathing. It needed to be that easy for her. And he basically just says, go back to sleep, girl. You've already learned lesson 1. And she's like, so that means we'll continue later on. Sifu, kind of just opening the door to the thing, to them actually being, pupil and student. If and when I believe the time is right. So she bows to him and leaves. And he's just like, I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell everyone else about, my independent ventures. So that being an assassin. She agrees to this. And he basically says at the end, and in return, I'll keep your secret, Kyoshi. So the idea here immediately is that he knows straight away she's the Avatar because of some sort of spiritual sensing. And then, like that, I think that's the end of the chapter, isn't it? Yeah, that's the last page of the chapter. Lao Ge suddenly jumps to being like one of the most important characters in the book here, because obviously he has this whole other life apart from he's part of the Flying Opera Company, but he's also this assassin. But he's also this potentially 200-year-old character. This legend about him that he's lived that long. That's very, very interesting, considering one of the big questions everyone has going into this book is, does the book touch in any way, give any explanation as to how Kyoshi could possibly live to be 230 years old? Lao Ge holds those answers, basically, because without spoiling much, it's going to be revealed to be 100% true, that he basically is that old. And he is going to teach Kyoshi how to extend her life like that. So that question does get answered for the most part in this book. It's not the most, clear, detailed answer, but we basically get the explanation for it. So we'll touch on that when we get around to the sequences that directly touch on it. But the hints of it almost immediately here, I think, are pretty good already. So yeah, and then because she knows he's an assassin, basically, she goes to him to get the training on how to kill people. And it's not even that like she goes to him for earthbending training, because it's more of Lek and Wong who basically teach her earthbending, as we'll get. She goes to him purely for the sort of mentality of the mentality you need to have to kill someone and it not kind of destroy you in a way. Him as an assassin for this long is the perfect person to sort of teach her what she needs if she wants to kill someone as casually as Jianzhu killed Kelsang. So this will begin a sequence of very interesting scenes between Lao Ge, as basically he is trying to teach her to effectively have the assassin mentality, and it feels like, oh, this is going to explain like Kyoshi's sort of ruthlessness that everyone thinks of her as, but it's not quite going to be that way. It's going to be, I suppose, Kyoshi finding her own sense of justice through learning this from Lao Ge, but also her own experiences and other characters informing it as well. And so it's her taking what she needs from Lao Ge, but not taking it that far. And there's some really interesting things that come up along the way as they have their lessons, and it's revealed that he's still basically an active assassin, and Kyoshi kind of is asked to get in on one of these assassination attempts, and so on. That will come in the coming chapters, but like I said, the core of this being that Lao Ge scene at the end, I think is so well done, how they incorporated in of just this legendary character, the one character who is like just extremely familiar with like Kyoshi's parents and is seemingly knowledgeable enough about the world to immediately recognize that Kyoshi's the Avatar from just sensing her spirit in a way. So that's interesting. Immediately you're getting sort of like Guru Patik sort of vibes in that sense of like being able to sense someone's energy and so on. So Very interesting stuff. As far as the escape action scene goes, yeah, the idea of the dust stepping and like the water stepping or misstepping is what she calls it. Very, very cool techniques for those characters that make complete sense, and especially given that like Kyoshi's mother, an airbender, was their leader, it makes complete sense that an airbender, one of their natural abilities is just to jump, airbending assisted jump. So this is like a technique that like all of the other members sort of developed with their own element to sort of keep up with Jasa, basically. And I don't think they ever really explain it, but like maybe they do. It's just some bits of the book I don't really remember. But like I don't think they ever really go as far as to say that like her father like invented the dust step technique or anything like that. But her mother's the important one here of like just the details kind of surrounding all of that stuff. It's really interesting. So yeah, I think they reveal more about Kyoshi's mother in a coming chapter. It might be the next one actually. Yeah, I think it's revealed in an upcoming chapter. The more details on Jasa. But for now, the only other thing really here is just that the shock of basically finding out that any airbender could go down such a path, of going from being sort of master airbender to becoming the leader of like a Dao Fei group. It's crazy, but and Rangi sort of has this shocked moment of like we know she's very kind of reverent of just the aspects of the world, like the Avatar and like what way the airbenders are. So she's already had like her devotion to the Avatar sort of broken in a way. Now she's had like, oh, not all airbenders are like perfect monks, broken as well, and so everything's changing for Rangi as well. So yeah, really cool stuff. As like, yeah, you're sort of seeing the group form and get back on track here, because from their perspective, they're immediately in on this, like, yes, we're back in action, we have a bison again. And Kyoshi still hasn't fully decided if she's going to go ahead with all of this, but I think her committing to going to see Lao Ge to ask how to kill people is confirmation she's in right now for at least the time being. So that's my thoughts on this chapter. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.